guess on the top line, first of all, this is a very timely topic, even more timely perhaps than we thought when we first planned this just a few days ago. But at the top line, I think it's important to say that the conditions that we currently see prevalent across the Middle East, the chaos, the multiple fronts of conflict, multiple theaters of conflict, and the fact that they're all overlapping and interconnected, are precisely why Iran has spent the last 40 plus years building a regional network of proxies for precisely the conditions that became prevalent after October the 7th, and in particular with Israel's campaign on Gaza. This is sort of prime operating ground for this regional network. And frankly, I think it's the first time we've seen the entirety of that regional network mobilized and activated to operate simultaneously and in parallel to each other. And I think it's important, so I've already said two words which I want to sort of double down on. One is that it's a network, and it is truly a network. Each of these militias or proxies do operate within their own local environments, and they do obviously have their own local agendas, but they are very much part and parcel of a regional network. I think it was interesting and indicative last night that within 90 minutes of the US strike, or the US missile hitting the vehicle in Baghdad, within 90 minutes of that strike, there were public and official statements celebrating the martyrdom of Abu Bakr al-Sadi from proxy militias in Syria, in Iraq, in Lebanon, in Yemen, in Bahrain, and in Gaza, and in the West Bank, within 90 minutes. And I think that, that speaks in an indicative way of the extent to which this network sees itself as part and parcel of the same kind of campaign. And they are also proxies. There's been a significant debate in the US recently about to what extent does Iran control these actors? Has it lost control of them? I think it's kind of a useless debate. They are Iranian proxies. They were not designed to be controlled 24/7, 365 days of the year. They were designed to do their own bidding, but in so doing to further Iran's regional agenda. And ultimately, the IRGC and the Quds Force are their patron, their guide, their armorer, their trainer, their financier, and more. And in 2024, today, these proxies and the network in its entirety, I think, frankly, are extraordinarily well equipped, highly motivated, and continue to be shared, to continue to share that ideological and geopolitical vision. And I think more than ever, they are truly fueled by a sense of momentum, like they are on the winning side here. Another point to make, I suppose, is that Iran's significant surge that we saw develop 20 years ago or so domestically into missile and then latterly into drone technology is reaping rewards in terms of that is precisely the mechanism that it has chosen to specifically invest the most in through these proxies. These weapon systems that we've now see play out are being utilized in Ukraine are highly transportable, they're replicable, they're highly cost effective. For most of these proxies, they come in components, and so they're easy to transport domestically, put together at the site of an attack, and almost a fire and forget system, but highly effective in a campaign like this. From a US perspective, I think some of the challenges that we're facing dealing with these proxies, particularly in Syria and Iraq, but also region-wide, is the fact that they are engaged in a campaign of attrition. They see themselves as engaged in a long-term campaign, ultimately in their eyes to expel the US from the Middle East, and also in their eyes to destroy the state of Israel. That's a long-term campaign. Being local actors gives them the inherent advantage against us as the United States. They're in many ways, which we can come on to talk about.
آنچه در مورد ما میگویند